train screeched to a halt. Rachel barely had time to glance up from her half-eaten empanada when she saw him, a man in an expensive green suit, standing frozen near the platform's edge, eyes blank, lips moving silently. A second later, he staggered forward, nearly falling into the crowd. "Hey, watch out!" she yelled, bolting through the swarm of commuters. She caught his arm just in time. His body was trembling, his breath ragged. I don't know where I am," he whispered. The subway lights flickered. The man looked down, panicked, searching his pockets like someone trying to remember who he was. What kind of person forgets everything in the middle of a rush-hour train? Rachel, a social worker used to trauma and mental illness, had seen many things, but never this. Something wasn't right. Was he drugged, escaping something, or someone? And why did a face like his, polished, wealthy, out of place, look so completely alone? What Rachel didn't know was this wasn't a chance encounter. It was the beginning of a story so deeply buried in the past, it would change everything forever. Would you stop to help a stranger like this, or would you keep walking? Stick around, what happens next might just break your heart and heal it too. "Hey, careful," Rachel Carter's voice rang out across the crowded subway car as she darted forward just in time to stop a sharply dressed man from collapsing against the steel pole. His green suit, though elegant, was wrinkled and askew. His eyes, wide with panic, darted around as if he were trapped in a nightmare. He looked lost. Not the kind of lost you get when you miss a stop, but the kind that steals your breath. Rachel, still holding half a muffin in one hand, crouched beside him and spoke with a calmness she had mastered over years working as a social worker. "Are you all right, sir? I've been watching you since the last station. You look like you didn't know where you were." The man's hands trembled as he sat down. "I don't remember where I was going," he whispered, checking his pockets in a frantic loop. "I don't know what happened. Was he having a panic attack or something worse?" Rachel reached out gently. "I'm Rachel. I work with seniors. I've seen things like this before. Temporary disorientation, memory gaps. May I check your wallet? Maybe there's an ID or emergency contact." He hesitated, then handed over a fine leather wallet, his fingers cold against hers. "Benjamin Lockhart," she read aloud from the executive card inside, "CEO of Lockhart Dynamics." "Whoa!" She glanced at him. "That's a big name in tech." "I think that's my company," Benjamin said, eyes narrowing like he was trying to solve a riddle. Rachel nodded and pulled out her phone. "Let's call someone from the number listed here. Someone must be worried sick." While she spoke into the phone, Benjamin studied her face. There was something familiar about her. Or was it just the way she tilted her head when she talked? "Yes, I'm with Mr. Lockhart," Rachel told the person on the line. "We're at Union Station near the north exit. He seems disoriented, but he's safe. We'll wait right here." Hanging up, she turned back to him with a warm smile. "Help's on the way. Your assistant said you sent a strange message and disappeared. I'll stay until they arrive." "Thank you," Benjamin said quietly. "I normally have a driver. He got sick. I thought I could just take the train." He stopped like his thoughts had drifted into fog. As they walked slowly toward the exit, Benjamin kept glancing at Rachel. "Have we met before, your face? It's familiar." "I don't think so," she replied kindly. "I work at the Willow Grove Community Center helping the elderly. Unless you have someone there." Just then a woman in heels and a blazer rushed toward them. "Ben." "Oh my God," she gasped. "Are you okay?" "She helped me," Benjamin said, pointing at Rachel. The woman, clearly his assistant, turned to Rachel and pulled out her wallet. "Thank you. Please accept this." Rachel shook her head firmly. "No need. We all need help sometimes." She handed Benjamin a napkin with her number scribbled on it. "If you ever get lost again or just want to talk, call me." As she walked away, Benjamin froze. Duarte. That name, her eyes, her voice, suddenly memories unlocked. His mother lying in a hospice bed. And the social worker who stayed with her until the end. Kind, gentle, steady. Her name had been Angela Duarte. And this girl, Rachel. Duarte looked just like her. Could it be her daughter? And if so, what did fate want from him now? Back at the Willow Grove Community Center the next day, Rachel arrived exhausted. Her colleague Jonah handed her coffee. "You look like a ghost." "Let me guess more. Bad budget news." Rachel sighed. If we don't raise funding this month, we'll have to cut the occupational therapy program. What if we approach local companies for donations, Jonah suggested. Sure, she said flatly. Because billionaires love cutting checks to crumbling community centers, right? She paused, though I did meet one on the subway yesterday. Meanwhile, in a luxury high-rise downtown, Benjamin Lockhart sat in his office staring out at the skyline. His assistant, Vanessa, hovered nearby. That was your third episode this month. Ben, she said softly. You need to see someone. I'm fine, he replied, though his voice was strained. You got lost in the subway? She said. What if that woman hadn't found you? He turned away. Her name was Rachel Duarte. Vanessa blinked. Wait, Duarte? Benjamin nodded slowly. I think she's Angela Duarte's daughter. And just like that, the past collided with the present. He opened a file on his computer. Rachel Duarte, age 31, social worker, community advocate. Employed at Willow Grove Center, struggling for funds. He picked up the phone. Vanessa, make a donation anonymously today. What did you think of this first chapter? What do you think Rachel would do if she found out he knew her mother? We're sorry to pause the story here, but part 2 is coming soon. In the meantime, tell us, have you ever helped a stranger and found out they were someone important? Do you believe fate brings certain people into our lives for a reason? Let us know in the comments and tell us where you're watching from. If you're enjoying this story, please like and heart this video to support the channel. 3 days had passed since that strange encounter in the metro. Rachel hadn't heard from Benjamin, no calls, no messages. She had nearly convinced herself he was just a confused millionaire, a momentary detour in her chaotic life. But that illusion shattered the moment she walked into Willow Grove Community Center. On Monday morning, Rachel Jonah shouted from across the hall, eyes wide. You need to see this now. She hurried to his office. On his computer screen was an email from the center's accounting department. Anonymous donation received. $75,000, Rio dollar. Rachel blinked. That's impossible. It's not a mistake, Jonah whispered. The funds just cleared, and that's not all. We got a second transfer this morning. Another $25,000. Rachel's heart thudded in her chest. Her mind went to Benjamin. Was this connected? Why would someone donate so much and not want credit? But she didn't say it aloud. Not yet. That afternoon, needing time to think, she ducked into Cafe Leora, a quiet spot 2 blocks from the center. She ordered her usual chai latte and picked the table in the back corner. Moments later, someone slid into the seat across from her. Rachel, the voice said, soft, hesitant. She looked up Benjamin Lockhart. He looked different this time. Not just more composed, but present. His eyes weren't as clouded, his suit was more casual, and in his hand he held a book. I'm sorry for showing up unannounced, he said, setting the book on the table. The Power of Ordinary Kindness. Rachel raised a brow. That's a surprising choice. It's your kind of book, Benjamin replied almost sheepishly. And I wanted to say thank you again. She studied him carefully. You seem better. Today is a good day, he said with a quiet smile. Other days aren't. I've been diagnosed with a rare cognitive condition, temporary memory loss, but it's progressing. Rachel froze. The subway, the panic. It all made sense now. I've had these episodes for a while, he continued, voice lowering. But the one in the metro, that one scared me if you hadn't been there. You don't owe me anything, Rachel said. That's not true, he replied. You remind me of someone. Angela Duarte. My mother. Rachel finished, her voice suddenly brittle. Benjamin exhaled deeply, as if finally letting go of a long-held breath. She cared for my mom before she passed. Your mother was one of the kindest souls I've ever met. My mother called her the light in a dark room. Rachel didn't know what to say. Her mother. A name she hadn't heard spoken with tenderness in years. I promised my mom I'd return the kindness Angela gave us, Benjamin said, but I never imagined it would lead me to her daughter. You saw the donation, Rachel began. Was my doing, he confirmed. I wanted to help without overwhelming you. But also I wanted a reason to stay close. Rachel narrowed her eyes. Why didn't you just say all this from the start? Benjamin hesitated. Because I didn't want you to think this was about guilt or debt. I wanted to know who you were, to see if the person your mother raised matched what I remembered. And now I just want to be around you," he admitted. No strings, no expectations, just honesty. Silence stretched between them. Then Rachel leaned forward slightly. "Benjamin, if you really mean that, then stop running from your condition. From people who care. I've seen what denial does to people. It's not brave." He nodded slowly. "Then I won't run anymore." But even as they sat there sipping tea and quiet understanding questions hovered between them. Could she trust a man who'd entered her life under false pretenses, even with good intentions? Could he love someone while facing a condition that might one day erase her completely, and could they afford to find out? We're so sorry to pause the story here, but more surprises await in next part. Until then, think about this. If someone helped you out of kindness but kept a huge secret, could you forgive them? And what if the truth connected your past with your future in a way you never imagined? Let us know your thoughts in the comments and tell us where you're watching from. And if this story stirred something in you, please tap that like button and send us some love. Your support means everything. The weeks that followed were filled with silence. Not the kind you notice immediately, but the type that creeps into your days when something or someone is missing. Rachel threw herself into work, channeling her thoughts into expanding the outreach programs at Willow Grove. The donation from Benjamin had opened doors to new partnerships and access to more patients. Her professional life was thriving, but her heart, it was suspended in time. One evening, while organizing medical supply boxes in the storage room, she came across an old file labeled Duarte. Inside was a photo of her mother, Angela, standing beside a smiling elderly woman in a wheelchair. Behind them, a much younger Benjamin stood in the background, half turned toward the camera. Rachel traced her fingers over the photo. That was the moment she realized their lives had been intertwined long before the metro. So why did it feel like fate was holding its breath? Then came the letter. Not an email, not a text. A real letter, hand-delivered by a courier with no return address. It was from Benjamin. "Dear Rachel, if you're reading this, I've found the courage to give you what I never had the nerve to say aloud. My doctors say the episodes are coming faster. I wanted to believe I had more time, but I can't lie to myself or to you any longer. What we had, brief as it was, changed me. You changed me. I lied to you about how we met, about what I knew. But I never lied about how I felt. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I only hope that when you think of me, you remember the real parts too. The laughter, the quiet walks, the way you made me feel human when I was unraveling inside. There's one more thing I did, one last thing that was honest." The letter included a folded blueprint. It was the design for a new adult care facility, the Angela Duarte Center for Community Wellness funded. Approved, set to break ground in 3 months, she stood frozen in the doorway of the center, watching the sunset bleed through the windows. And for the first time in weeks, she allowed herself to cry. But the story wasn't over. A month later, at the National Health and Community Summit in Chicago, Rachel was asked to deliver a keynote on urban elderly care. She accepted. What she didn't expect was to find Benjamin waiting backstage, leaning on a cane thinner, but smiling. "You still like entrances, huh?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've always liked yours better," he replied. "I got your letter. I meant every word." The speech that day was flawless, but the real moment happened afterward, in a quiet corner of the convention hall. Rachel looked him in the eyes. "Why didn't you ask me to stay? Why just disappear? I wanted to leave before you saw what I was becoming," he said, "before I forgot your name or your kindness." "But don't you get it?" Rachel whispered, stepping closer. "I wouldn't have left. Not if you were honest." "Then I'll ask now." Benjamin said, his voice shaking. "Will you stay? However long I have left, will you walk it with me?" There was a beat of silence, and then without hesitation, she took his hand. "Yes, but only if we build something with it." They did together. They opened the center. Rachel ran operations. Benjamin, on his good days, spoke to donors and families. On his bad days, he sat quietly in the garden, holding her hand, tracing the pulse he once feared would vanish before he could say what he truly felt. And then came one day 5 years later. A young girl named Ava wandered into the center with her grandfather, who had just begun showing signs of cognitive decline. Ava asked Rachel, "What made you want to help people like my grandpa?" Rachel smiled softly, "Because someone helped my father. And someone else helped me believe that we're all just one moment away from needing each other." The girl nodded, then ran off. Later, Rachel sat beside Benjamin on a bench outside the garden. His eyes, though foggy, still sparkled when they landed on her. "Remind me," he whispered, "how we met." Rachel laughed gently and leaned in. "It started with an empanada and a man who got lost on a train." "And you?" he asked. "I was already a little lost too," she said. "But somehow we found the same track. That night under a sky full of stars." Benjamin asked her a question he hadn't asked before. "Have I kept my promise to your mother?" Rachel squeezed his hand. "You've kept it better than anyone ever could." We're truly sorry to pause the story here, but we needed to take a breath. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever met someone by chance who ended up changing your entire path, and do you believe people deserve a second chance, even if they kept a painful secret? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and we're curious, where are you watching this from? If this story touched you, please tap the heart and share it with someone who needs to hear it. You never know what story might change a life.